QBasic Array Part 2. Welcome back everybody. I'm Prakash Pradhan, your trainer for this entire series. So I do believe the previous video that we discussed about the understanding of an array, how the data gets stored in array, how the data can be retrieved with the help of array, it's quite clear. Now in this session we're going to write few more programs using a single dimensional array. So double dimensional array will be the third video. Now right now we are going to write more program in order to understand how actually data gets stored, how data can be compared even using the array. So now we are going to write one simple program with the help of the string, because so far the program that we did, I do believe that we almost deal with your numbers only. So let's try to write one more program, okay, with the help of the string array. Now let's say I would like to print any 5 names, okay, with the help of array. In that case, that we have already discussed that in order to declare array in a QBasic, we'll have to use the keyword that is the dim. Okay, now let's see, since we are talking about printing a string, so let's have a name of your string, or your data type should be the string. So let's say name as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 subscript. That means the 5 names we are going to print it actually. So that's why first reading person, what we do over here is for I is equals to 1 to 5. So now you might have seen in the previous video that whenever we read the data, whenever we store a value, whenever we execute a value, we were using all the time, almost I do believe we use a read data, but it's not mandatory. Okay, it's not mandatory to use a read data statement along with the dim. You can supply a data with the help of your input statement as well. So let's say that over here we are going to use input statement. Okay, input. So let's say name dollar. That means rather than supplying a value or reading a value from the read data statement, we are going to supply a value in a name of your array. So this person simply reads, that is already done. Now, so let's see what is the outcome of this portion of the program. Okay, so we'll go over here. Now, when we execute this program, the first it's going to ask you input name $I. What is the meaning of that? That means it's going to ask you to supply a word in a name of your array itself, and that will be indexed as 1. That means your output is something like this. When you run the program, name $1, it's going to ask you one word. Okay, let's say this word I give. Then name $2, this is the index number, second value, because it's going to ask you the value for 5 times continuously. So first time when it asks a name or word to be supplied, that's going to be stored in a name $index 1, second index 2. Okay, now then name $index 3, it's going to ask you, okay, let's say this, and then name $index 4, obviously that is going to be one more string over here since we are talking about the 5 string. Okay, so who's left? Let's give Ravan, a very wise person. And then last one, index 5. What do you have? Index 5, let's say, okay, just this. So 5 names are being stored over here. That means the first block over here, you see the first block, what do you do over here? We declare an array, okay, and we use a subscript 5. That means the 5 elements are going to be supplied by you. So it's going to ask you a name for 5 times, and those names are also going to be stored in a single one variable. That was the beauty of your array. That means it's going to help you to reduce the number of variables in a program. That means when I supply a name for the first time, that name is going to be stored in its memory in a form of name $subscript 1. That means name 1 is Sita, name 2 is Ram. So it's going to simply store it in its memory. Now, since the storing portion is done, now the printing part is done. So if you have stored 5 records, so it's up to you how many records that you are interested to print it. But since we're in a lab environment, I do believe that we're going to print all the 5 names. So that's why for I is equals to 1, 2, 5, we're going to do that. Okay, then I'm going to print name $index I. There is no data. Why? Because we use the input statement. Now, what is the use of this second block? Now, the first block figure is already done at the right side in your paintbrush. Now, the output of second one. So, let's see now. So, when I execute the second block, what it does? Print name $I. Now, when I say name $I, what is the first value of I? Name $I means 1. So, what it is going to print? Of course, it's going to print Sita. Then this I will send you back. I do believe you all know that. Next I will send you back, and it will increase the value of I by 1. That means 1 plus 1, 2. Now this time it is going to execute name second value, name $2. What is the second value? That means what is the value that you have stored previously in name $2? What do you have? Ram. So it's going to execute Ram. Again I will send you back 2 plus 1, 3. So name dollar third value it's going to execute. What's the third value? This one. Again it goes back, name dollar 4. What is the fourth value? This word. Again it goes back. What is the fifth value of your name dollar I? Fifth value is Binu. So it is going to execute. Now again if it goes back and it increases 1, what's going to happen? It's going to be 6. So it's going to send it straight away out of this loop. That means that way this program is the 5 name continuously in this order. If I run it, you'll find the exact same output that we discussed right now. So it's asking the name. First name, what we decided to give? Sita. Second name, what we decide? Ram. Lakshman. These are the 5. So it's done. Okay. Now what if I give 2 lines break and I want to print the third value over here again? What is the third value? Make a quick guess. Third value is Lakshman. So again Lakshman is going to get printed after printing 5 records. So let's give the same name again. Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Ravan and Des. See, because the third value that we have decided over here is, what do you have over here? Lakshman. So that's why it's going to store. That means this is another one feature that you find over here in an array, that once the data is supplied in this program, it can be reutilized also, because it's going to store in its memory. Okay, I hope it was quite clear. Okay, it was easy for you to understand, and only the thing that I can suggest you guys is that you guys need to practice a lot. Okay, programming depends upon your practice. So now let's write one more program over here. Now we're going to write a program. We are going to declare 5 values, and let's try to write the program to display either the highest number or the smallest one with the help of array. Okay, now so for that I'm going to write a program to supply any 5 numbers, and among those 5 numbers we are going to display only the smallest one. Okay, so how many values that we say? There's now 5 values. That means the size of your array will be, subscript will be 5. Okay, let's say num. Okay, so how many subscript that we are going to use? 5. So that's why it's okay. Now for I is equals to 1, 2, 5. Why? Because we have decided to use 5 elements. That means 5 subscript in this array. So that's why I use 5. Okay, now this time rather than using input, of course we're going to use the read also. Okay, so I'm going to use read. What is the name of your array? Num. So where's the subscript? So if you remember the previous example that I did at the right hand side in your paintbrush, okay, I find convenient to use the paintbrush, so I use this. Now if you remember what we did, this block is simply going to read the value, but now the question comes, where's the value? Okay, let's give it here. So these are the 5 values. Now let's see how it is going to store those 5 values. Okay, for the first time when we execute the first block. So what's going to happen? Okay, what is the output of that block? So first, what it is doing? Read num I. What is the first value of I? Make a quick guess. That's a 1. Okay, so which value it's going to read? The first value of your read is, of course, it's a 4. Then second, read num second value. What is the second value? 3. Done. Then read array name and your third value. Okay, now third value is, what do we have over here? Third value, if you see, that's 1, and this one is 3. We have already done. Now then we are going to do the fourth value. Fourth value is over here, what we decided to give, that's a 2. And then last value. Okay, last value over here is your fifth value. So what do we have that value? That is a simply 7. Now it's going to store the value in this format. This block does only that work, not more than this. But now we want to display the smallest one. Now in order to display only the smallest one, we need to at least extract a 1 value from all those 5 values, and we'll make a comparison simply. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to store 1 value separately. That means, let's say C is equals to num subscript is 1. Okay, let's say third value. Third will be easy because we're having the smallest one. Now what is the third value? That means array subscript 3. See at the right hand side, what do you have over here? Right hand side here, third value. What is the third value? Make a quick guess. This, I extracted this one, and that one is stored in variable C. Now since the 1 value is already extracted from an array, so how many values are left out? How many values left out? That is simply 4 values. Okay, you can extract any number of values that you want. Okay, but the easiest one that is actually applicable for you to compare this value is that if you extract the first one is stored somewhere, so that it will be easy for you also to start the loop and all. So that's why let's make a small change over here. So we are going to extract the first value, no problem. Now in that case, now you tell me again, what is the value of C? Quick guess. Num1, that means 4. See, it's over here. We extracted 4. Okay, now first value is extracted. Now I need to compare this first value with rest of the 4 values. So that's why my loop, now second time for the printing purpose, this comparison purpose, my loop will start from 2. Why? Because the first value is already extracted. So for I is equals to 2 to, what do you have? 5. Now I'm going to make this comparison. If C is greater than num I. What is the value of num I now? I means 2. What is the second value? Have a look at the right hand side. Second value is 3. Is that C greater than 3? Obviously, because that C that you have stored over here is num1. What is the value of num1? 4. That means this condition match. So if this condition match, we'll simply swap the value. Then C is equals to num I. That means by this time, what did he store in C? That is 3. Don't forget. Now C is 3. Okay, let me write over here. It will be easy for you to understand. That means C is equals to 3. Because this C was last time greater than that value. That means the C was holding a 4 and that 4 is obviously greater than 3. So that's why we swap the value. Because we wanted to write a program to print the smallest one. Okay, that means smaller number is stored in a C. Now again, it's not over yet. There's a dialogue also, if you remember, Pixar Abhi Baki Mera Dost, it's the same thing. Sorry for that. Okay, now next time. So again, it will send you back. Why? You know the reason. The final value of I was supposed to be 5. So right now we are having only 2. Now, by the time the value of I was 2, the value of C is, what do you have? 3. We have already extracted at the right hand side in our pen bar screen. So that it will be easy for you to see also. Now again, it will send you back. So when we go back, what's going to happen? 2 plus 1, 3. Okay. Now, it's going to read the value of I. What is the value of I now? 3. So which value it's going to read? Third value, 1. So if C is greater than num I, that means the array I. Array value is 3. Third value is 1. So is C greater than 1? Obviously C is 3. So in that case, what's going to happen now? C will replace the value. So value that we have in num I. Num I means what? Third value is 1. So that value will get stored in C. That means now the value of C is changed into 1. Okay. Now again, value of I is 3. Third value is I, 1. Again it goes back and it will do plus 1. 3 plus 1, 4. Now it is going to read the fourth value of array. What was the fourth value of array? Have a look at the right hand side. 2. 2. Don't forget. Fourth value of array is 2. Now if C is greater than num I. Is C greater than I? Num I? What is the value of this num I at this moment? 2. That's not true. So that's why it's not going to swap the value. Again it does plus 1. Now I is 5. So what is the fifth value of your array? Fifth value of array is a 7. So still condition does not match. Why? Only in a case when this C is greater than 7, then only the value will get replaced. Because so far I remember, and I am sure that you all also remember, the value that you have stored in C so far is 1. So 1 is not greater than 7. So that's why this is not going to be replaced. So by the time 5 times the data are already read over here, the comparison is done. Now what did you store in C? And that is obviously, congratulations, that is the smallest number. So I'm going to write smallest number is equals to, what do you have? C. So program over. If I run it, it should give smallest number is 1. See. Okay, so what if I change the value? Okay, no problem. Let's change the value. Okay, so let's change all the values. Okay. Now, what will be the last? That means the smallest value. Obviously, that's 2. So no matter what value you write, it's going to give the same thing. Okay, so this is the simple way how you can utilize actually array Okay, even sometime to compare, sometime to retrieve, sometimes to swap with the help of this array. It's going to help, or it's going to save a lot of your time, okay, rather than getting more confused, okay, with the maximum number of your variables in a program. So I do believe this was the very easy explanation for you all to understand the single dimensional array. So if it is fruitful, please do like and subscribe and see our next video that will talk about the double dimensional array. Thank you.